Alright, I know you're excited to get to navigation, but there's something a little more important we need to talk about first. Before moving on, I want to introduce you to what may be the most important command of all time. This command is called man. You can use it to see how other commands are supposed to work. You can think of it as kind of the spring from which all command line knowledge flows.
Alright, so to kick things off, we're going to get a little meta, and we're going to use the man command to look at information about itself. To get started, make sure you are at the command line on whatever system you happen to be on. And then once you are, go ahead and type in man space man. Once you've done that, go ahead and hit return or enter. And then once you've done that, you should be in this interactive session, and you won't really be able to enter any commands right now, but you can hit enter to go down, or you can use the arrow keys to go up and down. And so you can just think of this as some kind of a document, basically. And what man does is it basically goes and fetches information about whatever command you're curious about. In this case, like I said, we're looking at man. So up here we can see that we have the name, man, and then a little longer description. And then next we have the synopsis. This is just the command's name, along with any common flags that you might pass into it. You can think of flags as like arguments to a function, or basically configuration options. So depending on what flags you pass in, a command can do different things. And then next we have the description section, and this is just a longer form description. So a lot of times there'll be more detail about when this should be used and what it's good for. And then below that you see we have the options section. So this kind of lists out each of the flags that I mentioned earlier and gives explanations of what they do and what they're good for. As you can see here, just for example, we have -c, and this allows you to specify a configuration file if you happen to have one. So a lot of times, you'll say something like the command name, like man, and then you'll follow it with a flag like -c, and then you'll pass in whatever you want to pass as the argument to that flag. So in this case, if you had a configuration file, you would write the name after -c. And these are really the main parts of a man page. This is where you can find a lot of the really useful information about what a command is for and how you should be using it. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, there is quite a bit more information in here. Here we can see environment variables. These are just variables that you can give different assignments to, and if you have them assigned, then some commands will act differently based on them. They're kind of like the flags, but instead of having to pass in information every time, you can just set these once, and then all of your commands will see these from now on. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see that you get this end in the bottom left corner. And then usually there's a set of like bugs and tips and tricks. And the really interesting thing is seeing who the authors are. A lot of these commands have been around for a really long time, so it's kind of cool to see where they came from, and you can even see who's still maintaining it nowadays. Now, once you're finished viewing one of these documents that are kind of interactive like this, usually you can go ahead and hit Q, and that'll get you back to the command line.